Hey everybody, and hope everyone's doing great as usual. And thank you so much for watching, and definitely appreciate it. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Any ideas, thoughts, comments, suggestions, please let me know. And I love the dialogue. And also, thank you for watching, and subscribe if you haven't already. I started putting a little subscriber button up. I finally learned how to. I think it's. Let me point. I think it should be right around there if I'm doing this right. Okay, so. And thank you very much, by the way. I really do appreciate it. So I actually came across a video on Vice News, if you're familiar with it. It's a news channel, and they do, I think it's an independent organization. But either way, you can find them on YouTube. They have a lot of videos on there. I think they have a channel too. But they recently, I don't know how recent it was, but I recently came across it. But they did a video on Bob Saget. So I know Bob as the dad from Full House. So I saw it growing up, and then I followed his comedy career a little bit. So I saw some of his stand-up and over time. So I'm definitely aware who he was, and that sort of thing. So well, he passed away unfortunately last January. And like always, especially in the age of social media, there's a lot of, everybody has an opportunity to kind of talk about, well, anything really. But there was kind of some speculation. This whole Vice News article kind of seemed to leave an open door as to what really happened, because there's some speculation. There's really not, though. If you watch the news stories, most of it's really answered, to the best of their abilities, not knowing what exactly happened, because he was found dead in his hotel room, unfortunately, while he was on tour, and died in his sleep. So the facts as they're known to the best of their abilities are given. And then in this documentary, and I did skip through some of it, I didn't watch the whole thing, but from what I saw too, they leave the door open to everything. Like, this is possible, but so is this, and there's a lot of implying, for example, we don't know what happened. And kind of, to me anyways, it felt like opened the door to speculation as far as anything that wasn't already reported, which was pretty accurate, actually. So, and I figured, you know what? So, I thought, why don't I just ask him? So, why not? And he's a very nice guy, and I was able to have some conversations with him. And I wanted to do this properly too, so it took a few times. I want to make sure I heard the right answer. Because personally, I don't like it when people. It's okay. So it's a multi-faceted answer kind of here, and I was actually talking to him about this a little bit. I shared with him. He's a really nice guy too, and I was able to talk to him about the details of his death, and even asked his permission to. Can we? Do you mind if we do a video on this? Like, you don't have to share the details with me, but if you want to, I can gladly put it on my YouTube channel. And he had said, "Oh yeah, I really don't care, to be perfectly honest." So he was pretty open about it, very casual, really nice guy. And so we talked about it, and I shared with him a little bit. Like, I told him, me personally, I don't like it when people's death details are put out there. And I think each state and city may have different rules regarding this sort of thing, but like the coroner's report and the autopsy report and the police reports, sometimes they're public information. I think depending on where you're at, and sometimes not. And sometimes you have to actually get a lawyer in order to keep it private, for example, if you want it to. Me personally, I think it should start out that way. I mean, when a family is grieving, I don't really see the point in anybody but them going through and, it's kind of unavoidable for people to talk about things, but to obtain actual records and documents and put it out there and then start, speculating and that sort of stuff, I can see it being something that, it's private. Let the family grieve in private and share things if they want them to be shared. So, on one hand, I think that's really important to me, and I told him that. And that's why I want to be careful with this sort of thing. About sharing it. So, and not only that, but, on the other hand, in the age, like with anything, there could be good or bad information. I'm sorry, information can be used either positively or negatively. That's what I meant to say. So the information itself is what it is, information. But, so one negative aspect is the privacy and the grief and the healing process. And then one benefit, though, we actually talked about too. I actually asked him, well, I can also see the benefit in this, because when you're a celebrity, I was saying, your life is in the public eye, and that's just part of the process. And not only that, but people get emotionally involved with you and your career and what you do, and they're happy for you when things go great and sad when things don't, and then they're upset when you die. And sometimes closure doesn't just apply to close friends and family. It could apply to anybody who has any sort of investment as being a fan or part of Bob Saget's career, that sort of thing. So I told him, there's always a good way to look at it too, I guess, and as far as people wanting closure for that information, and it just kind of shows that you impacted others, which is great. So I told him that as well. And what he has said in response to that, he said, what were his exact words? He said, oh, that's right. He had said, I completely understand. I'm trying to remember exactly what he said. I completely understand about that sort of thing. That's what he said. He said, I completely understand about that sort of thing, Jerry, and I love it. I love their enthusiasm and support. It makes me who I am. That is exactly what he said. And when we were talking about the privacy nature of it too, I said, well, it looks like your family actually, they sued for privacy, which is great, which stopped a lot of the rest of the information coming out, like details of the crime scene and everything like that. I mean, that's really nobody's business, so I told him I'm glad that they sued and were able to keep that private. He said, I am really happy about that too, man. That's what he said. So he was really happy to hear that, which is great. So also, I was asking him about the details of the death, and he was open to sharing what happened. And it's really just like it said. So there was no indication, there was no drugs involved or, alcohol, anything like that. It's irrelevant. They gave a list, and this is another part that bothers me, but they gave a list of like medications that he was on. It was completely irrelevant. They even said that in the coroner's report. It's irrelevant. It was in small doses and would have been irrelevant to what happened. What it did say was he died due to blunt force trauma, and this would have occurred either, within hours or possibly a day or two preceding that. So that's what we talked about next. So I asked him, well, when did it happen and what happened exactly? And he said it actually happened the same evening. So the one, they found him the next afternoon, I believe. He said it happened the same evening, that he went to bed. And he said, I fell and hit my head on the floor. And he said, and that's it. And that's the truth. That's all that happened. So it was literally just like the coroner report said. So they actually did a pretty good job in putting it together. They just weren't sure about the timeline and exactly like they were saying he possibly could have hit it on the headboard, or it could have been hit on the floor, maybe in the bathroom or in the main part of the hotel room. but he confirmed it. He said, you know, confirmed that's exactly what happened. So he had fell, hit his head. It was the night before, and that damage that was caused, unfortunately, caused him to die in his sleep. And that's really it. So um, that is the full truth of it all, and that comes from Bob himself. So if you're not familiar with him, I'm going to show you some of his. I'm going to show you some information here online in just a second. Show you his picture, who we're talking about, and kind of his legacy, and what he leaves behind. So um, I'll show you that here in just a second. Oh, all right. So here is his Wikipedia page, and you can kind of go through here. But this is who he is, and I had it on the thumbnail in the beginning too. But this will give you, all the information about him, and I think it's safe to say he's pretty well known. Here he is, and so it mentions Full House here. I don't know if this is Full House here, right here. But I do know that's what he was known for, and then he did a bunch of movies. He also, I think his biggest things were probably Full House. He's known for America's Funniest Home Videos. I remember those. Watch both growing up actually, and what's the other one? Oh, How I Met Your Mother. So I've only seen a few episodes, but I actually really liked it. It was a few years back, and I guess he narrates. He's not in it, but he does the voice for it. And so, anyways, you can read his whole career and everything he's done on here. And there's some stuff about his family too, which is nice. So it mentions them here. He had 3 daughters, it says, and got remarried later, and then was remarried to the same woman, I believe, when he passed away. So let's see. Oh yeah, for the past about 4 years, I guess, up until his death. Yeah, that's it. So you can go through all this, and yeah, you can see he has quite a bit of credits to his name. But anyways, and when you read about him and hear about him, you always hear, well, he's like the nicest guy, and he really seems to be, and real nice too. I was talking to him, and of course, great sense of humor. It's funny because he's known for good wholesome shows like Full House and America's Funniest Home Videos, but then he also has like a more mature sense of humor, I guess, too, where he, more adult oriented with the language and the topics and that kind of stuff. It was kind of it was like a shock. I remember when I was younger growing up and then seeing him like in that sort of role, because it was such a difference from, his wholesome image on TV. It's pretty funny, but yeah, anyways, great guy. Okay, so that's it. That's what I wanted to share about Bob and his death, but also wanted to share as well because I did ask him, because he was married to his first wife for about 15 years, and they raised 3 daughters together before he got remarried. And I asked if there was anything he wanted to share at all, and he did say yes for Sherry, his first wife. He said, tell her I love her and we did a great job raising our daughters. That's what he said. And for his daughters, he wanted to say that I asked him, do you have a message for them? And he said, tell them I love them very, very much. He said, each and every one of them, he said. And then for his most current wife, I asked if he had any messages for Kelly. And he said that please say that as well. Please let her know that I love her. And he said very, very much. And he sounded like just like that, like not enunciating, but what's the word? Emphasizing that word. So nice messages to kind of close out that conversation that I had with them. So and Well, there you go. Thank you for watching. So please let me know, if you have any ideas or comments or thoughts or anything like that. And that's it. Thanks again. See you in the next video.